Viewers, big breaking news coming in even as we speak. We are being told that the government is responding to a massive development. Amnesty International has decided to check out of India. It has decided to halt its operations in India. Amnesty is blaming a government-sponsored witch hunt for shutting shop. It has gone on to say that it is being harassed because it has been dissenting and exposing the government on Article 370 and the alleged atrocities in Kashmir, that it has been questioning its record on human rights violations against minority communities in this country and several other issues. The government is taking it out on them by foisting cases against them, freezing their bank account information that they only realized and the only development that they realized happened on the 10th of September, leaving with them no option but to halt operations in this country as they had no capital left to continue their operations. The government, on the other hand, has come out and said that human rights, no excuse to defy the law. If you are in fact innocent of FCRA violations, i.e. receiving funds from dubious sources, unaccounted funds, illegal funds from dubious sources, you could have fought your case, proven yourself innocent in India's court of law. You could have easily have done that, but you didn't. And therefore, today you're creating an excuse suggesting that you have been persecuted out of this country by a vengeful government. Of course, this is not the first time that Amnesty has halted its operations under the UPA also. It was flagged for various anomalies in accounting, and it shut shop back then also. So on the face of it, viewers, the group of human rights activists that are tweeting in support of Amnesty today should go back into time. There is a consistent facsimile of developments under the UPA and today under the NDA that have replicated themselves. I want to go straight across to Nikunj Garg, Times Now's internal security editor. Nikunj, what do you make of this? This is a big development. The government coming back and saying that Amnesty promotes anti-India propaganda. They should now not try to hide behind the fig leaf of freedom of expression. This has got nothing to do with freedom of expression. This is about illegal fund flow.
Well, yes, that's absolutely the government's claim, and the government has said that these inquiries and investigations launched by the CBI and lodged by the Ministry of Home Affairs under the FCRA have been going on for a substantial period of time, and due legal steps have been taken in the due process, under the due process of the law. That is, of course, the government's claim. Amnesty International, obviously, one thing has to be said, that the fact remains, Rahul, that even if their funding was blocked by the government under the present set of circumstances, the Amnesty as such always had the leeway available to it to apply once all over again, because it is not something that has happened overnight. I remember breaking the story somewhere in October 2018 that the Enforcement Directorate has carried out searches against the Amnesty's offices in Bengaluru, and since then on, and in fact prior to that, the Ministry of Home Affairs complained to the CBI, on the basis of which an FIR was registered in CBI. So under that flow of time, the Amnesty certainly could have gone to the Ministry of Home Affairs, applied for a fresh FCRA license, delineated its sources of funding, disassociated itself from the prior sources of funding, given clarifications during the course of those investigations that are already ongoing, and a fresh license could have come, or the government could have. Remember, under the FCRA is an omnibus law. Under FCRA, there are multiple levels of clearances. Some require prior sanction, some do not require any sanction. So they could have got a conditional license also. That process certainly Amnesty did not follow.
Isn't it also true, Nikunj, and jog your memory back to about 11 years, 2009, when the UPA government refused to give FCRA clearance to Amnesty and it was forced to close temporarily in India? What were the circumstances then?
Well, to begin with, there were similar set of circumstances. Mr. Chidambaram had come as the new Home Minister to the Ministry of Home Affairs after inglorious exit of Mr. Shivraj Patil, and a fresh audit of all the NGOs registered under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act was done by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Amnesty was flawed for not submitting utilization certificates of funds received, like many other NGOs at that particular point in time also, and those red flags subsequently resulted in the further administrative action that the Ministry of Home Affairs can take. Of course, the matters didn't aggravate themselves to this extent of lodging of CBI and Enforcement Directorate cases. But as I said, while if the Amnesty International actually wanted to carry on with its activities, there were processes that were available under the law, and there were options that were available already on the table despite facing the probes. But obviously, Amnesty has chosen to take a particular road for which they have their best justifications.
Okay, let me open this out. Let me bring in the Bharatiya Janata Party national spokesperson, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi also. Dr. Anand Ranganathan is there with us. Paranjoy Thakurta also there with us. Ashutosh, both journalists are with us. I just want to ask you, Mr. Thakurta, why single out the NDA when under the UPA 2, Amnesty ran into similar problems? It got back into the swim of things. It proved its credentials. It was back. Simply move the courts. If you feel that you're a victim of an unfair witch hunt, of an exercise in trying to destroy your credibility, well, win it back. Secure your clean chit in an Indian court of law. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? It's not the only organization red flagged. Over 2,000 NGOs have been directed to validate their existing FCRA designated bank accounts. What's the problem? What's the problem?
Rahul, why UPA? Why NDA? Why India? Amnesty has been operating in over 150 countries, and everywhere the government has been critical. Except the difference is that after Putin's Russia, India is the first country where Amnesty is shutting down its operations. Whatever the reason might be.
No, what do you mean reason? Listen, why does it have to shut down its operations?
International got 1 minute. Why don't you hear me out?
Okay.
You want to hear me out or you want to talk? I said in 1977, Amnesty got the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay. Second point, the government hasn't taken Amnesty to court. Do you know the track record of the Enforcement Directorate in enforcing the Prevention of Money Laundering Act? I'll give you the figures, between March 2011 and January 2020, the Enforcement Directorate carried out over 1,700 search and seizure raids for unearthing this black money. How many convictions have they got in this period of time? Do you know? Answer: 6. This is the track record of the ED. Why hasn't the ED taken Amnesty to court?
Mr. Paranjoy Thakurta.
I ask you the other question.
Mr. Paranjoy Thakurta.
Please, let me finish. I've heard you.
Listen, the cause of action is being taken by Amnesty.
Will you let
the Enforcement Directorate has issued notices. It is seeking responses. It's going to analyze those responses. Why is Amnesty running away from proving its credentials in an Indian court of law? Do they not trust our legal system? They can come back and say that, look, we are taking you to court for harassment. Why flee?
But
I mean, they're behaving like the Malias of the world, the Sandesaras of the world.
Nobody's running away.
No, they've shut shop, sir. They've said we are backing out. We don't have the funds to work here.
Rahul,
and they did the same in 2009. So what has changed? Okay, 1 minute. Let me get the BJP in. Fair enough.
Because if
Mr. Thakurta says the Enforcement Directorate should be taking them to court, that the onus is on this government to prove the case. Fair enough.
Let me talk.
Let me get a reaction from.
Let me talk. You shut me down.
Sir, make 5 more points. But I don't have all the time in the world. Okay. So make your points quickly. I don't understand.
Give me 5 seconds.
Okay.
The 5 seconds, okay?
Fair enough.
The point is, how can a company function, how can an organization function if you close its bank account? You've frozen its bank account. Amnesty is saying we'll pursue legally all its legal options. That's it.
Where are they pursuing the legal options? They should be pursuing them. They should be pursuing them here. Why can't no, hang on. There are public interest litigations that are filed routinely in this country. 1 second, just allow me now. Mr. Thakurta, PILs are filed routinely on behalf of other individuals. Pro bono work is done by sections of Indian lawyers. You know who I'm talking about. The same people who support amnesty against the Indian government could have actually done pro bono work. We have Kapil Sibal, we have Prashant Bhushan, we have several individuals who are first in line to fight these cases. Why aren't they fighting the case on behalf of amnesty? It's a simple question. Nonetheless, I'm not expecting an answer, but I want you to answer, Dr. Trivedi, Mr. Thakurta.
Rahul, no, I do not. Then 99.5% possibility was that the Amnesty International would have gone clear.
And if the Court of India, which is so sensitive towards any case that for a terrorist, even it can sit in the late night, how you can say that you are not having any faith in the court? So one more thing. Do you know any NGO which is having FDI, foreign direct investment? They are having 4 outlets and they are earning profit. The NGOs are called non-profit organization. Why FDI? Why not FCRA? Just the questions have been asked and you are starting reacting like this. And one more thing I would like to say. You are an NGO, you do your work. Why you indulge in the political comments? In the terrorist activities in Kashmir, you say armed group members. And you say bigoted CAA amendment. What does this mean? Even if it is okay, you have to just file a technical reply to ED that why you are having 4 outlets, why you are having FDI, in the name of FDI, direct foreign money in those outlets, not in you. And then you are using, and above all, in 2009, then Prime Minister has said in the Kurnakulam incidents that it is being sponsored by some NGO and there was a direct indication and at that time even their function was stopped.
Okay. Dr. Ranganathan, the nub of the issue is that the MHA says that Amnesty received permission under FCRA only once, and that too 2 decades ago. Since then, they have been denied FCRA permission by successive governments, including the UPA. I've shown you and cited to you the past in 2009, where under Mr. Chidambaram that happened. However, the allegation is that Amnesty circumvented the law by routing the money as FDI. Why is that? Why is that? It's a non-profit organization. So, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, what do you make out of this?
Rahul, to paraphrase JFK, ask not how these human rights activists became frauds. Ask how these frauds became human rights activists. I repeat, you have to be high and expecting a knock from the NCB if you believe a word of what Amnesty peddles in the name of human rights. These are gangrenous, psychopathic rejects of the society, unemployable failures in life, but made employable only through some crumbs thrown at them by Darbaris and leftists, so they peddle their fake narrative handed down to them every day. And the less said about their dynasty sycophant chief, the better. His tweets and writings are a landfill of lies, distortions, propaganda and mediocrity. I might be accused of body shaming if I commented on the pitiful size of his cerebrum. I fear the man relishes the prospect of being wrong with the joyous metronomicity of a Tanpura, Bajate Rao. But Rahul, to be serious, please give me a minute. Remember, Amnesty is in the net for taking 36 crores, violating the FCRA Act and FEMA. Their own head of gender accused them of misogyny and being in bed with rampaging Islamists. They have been caught peddling fake news umpteen times but refused to apologize even when challenged, like when they were in 2018 by the UP police. They shamelessly peddled the fake church attack narrative, accusing Hindus of desecrating churches when they were simply burglaries. They peddled rising intolerance, emergencies here narrative. Their activists advocated and cushioned caste-based violence in 2018. Their chief wrote glowing eulogy of Vijay Mallya after he got into trouble for scamming and the GSA suspended his license. They hawked sickeningly selective hate trackers to promote scaremongering. 30 seconds, Rahul. Ignoring the more than 100 hate crime lynchings and attempted lynchings by Muslim mobs and Hindus, Dalits and non-Dalits. They talked of human rights in Kashmir, again based on fake news and Pakistani propaganda. These same sickle ninjas were completely silent for decades when the human rights of lakhs of Dalits, Valmikis, Gurkhas, women, refugees and gays were being trampled upon by
these are two issues.
1735A. Absolutely shameless propaganda artists.
Okay, there are two issues
10
here.
seconds, Rahul.
One
and
is
as
their
for
right
someone
to.
saying,
No, one
look,
second.
These guys got the Nobel Peace Prize in 77. Even Henry Kissinger got the Nobel Peace Prize.
That is true. That's no certificate of passivity at all, by the way. But nonetheless, I think we're confusing two issues here. Amnesty is within its right. If it feels that it wants to pull up the government on X, Y, Z infraction, they're within their rights to do it. And I'm sure, as a freedom of expression absolutist, Dr. Ranganathan, you won't object. Yes, of course, they have been meddling in India's internal affairs. We can be sensitive about that. But that was not really the reason why they were being pulled up. The reason was, and let's bring it back to the facts, the reason was that they have been denied FCRA clearances by successive governments, Ashutosh ji. Why are people like you, who are today venting your spleen against Mr. Modi and his intolerance, if you feel so strongly, if you feel like coming out and saying all these things, why don't you stand in court? Help Amnesty fight this. Come on.
First of all, I'm really thankful to my dear friend.
Test your conviction. Test your conviction in court.
Rahul, I am very thankful to Anand Ranganathan that he did not take my name. Really, really thank you so much. And he was giving lectures on the human rights and the history and the geography and philosophy.
Sir, the point is straight to you. Please answer the question. Don't get into a tussle with and try to deflect this issue. Dr. Anand Ranganathan wants to keep it on the subject. I'm asking you, why don't you go to court and fight Amnesty's case? Why are you not confident of doing that?
No, Rahul.
Come on.
Rahul, it is easier for the government to create a technical case and the legal case and push you to the court and go to the court and face the court, and then you realize. See, the problem here is whether it is P. Chidambaram or it is Mr. Amit Shah.
Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi
1 minute, let him
also gone
finish.
to court, haven't they?
Ashutosh,
In
go
the
ahead.
National Herald's case.
See,
Ashutosh,
the
go ahead.
track record of P. Chidambaram, the track record of this government, both on the human rights are not very good.
Okay.
And that is why, and that is one reason. That is one reason. State by nature is
Listen,
repressive.
but that is not the reason why Amnesty is being, one
You
second,
create
subject
technical
to questioning by this government. No one has said that you have questioned our human rights record. Therefore, we are issuing you a show cause notice. They have said that you are in violation of FCRA norms. And let me tell you, viewers, more breaking news is coming in. Before I go to that, I just want to read out an Amnesty press release from 2014. It said in 2009, our office in New Delhi had to close down, partly due to problems with receiving funds from the Amnesty International global movement, which is funded mainly by small donations and membership fees from millions of ordinary people across the world. We have, of course, had our share of issues, which has led to internal conflicts, rifts with other activist groups, and closure of offices, even as our work on human rights issues in India continued. This is what they said when they were under the UPA. Today, under the NDA, they are claiming that they are a victim of a witch hunt. If you are a victim of a witch hunt, if you believe that these cases are foisted upon you, go to the courts. If you don't have the money to do it, call upon your friends in the lobby, the Thakurtas, the Bhushans, the Sibbals. They'll gladly help you out. But the point is, are they confident of their case? Maybe they're not. Maybe that's the reason why we have a situation where Amnesty has been abandoned by their closest allies. Maybe that's the reason. Viewers, we've got to start thinking about these things more closely. But big breaking news coming.